Chapter 4, Ain't Got a Choice. The word I would use is quaint. You got a really nice place here, man. Cupid smiled and put the milk onto a pot on his gas stove. Yeah, you don't want to catch any viruses. Smart idea, kiddo. He smiled and put the eggs into his large metallic chrome refrigerator. And there was a ham radio on a wooden desk. The walls were painted light blue, and there was a couch, or was it a gray futon, with a fireplace and a black metal grate in front of it. The floor was wooden and covered in a large red oriental rug, and it had a bedroom and bathroom separate. It was a modest-sized apartment. It just felt cozy. And there was a door with a staircase behind it that led to my apartment. Hey, mind if I check out my apartment? Leave it to it? That milk also needs to be strained through a cheesecloth to get all the bad stuff out and let it cool down completely. Cupid nodded as I walked up the large oak stairs. They creaked and moaned just like my bungalow in Massachusetts. Oh, this is such a place for Cupid and I. And as I reached the top of the stairs, it was amazing. It reminded me of a top-floor apartment, and I loved the slanted walls. It was always enough to stand up straight in, and there was a massive oven with a stove. In the kitchen, the cabinets were filled with ingredients and spices, even canned and pickled foods. The oak floors of my apartment creaked just the right way. The bathroom was magnificent, a metal claw tub with a shower, and a curtain already installed. There were tons of soap, stuff to shave and bathe with. Oh my god, this towel is so fucking soft, and I love the color blue. Thank you, universe. A few dozen face cloths. Then I realized there was even a washing machine and dryer with soap. There were no rugs on my floors, but I preferred it that way. The windows looked like the same bubble glass look from my great-grandfather's house. A large pine table and a few chairs, with an island in the middle of my kitchen with a marble countertop. The sink was massive, with a rack for drying dishes and plenty of towels, aprons, and other kitchen supplies. I also had a light in the middle of the apartment with sunbeams coming through the windows, a fireplace, a large mantel, and a couch, an oak rocking chair, and a recliner. Yay, we were finally home. So I decided to fuck with Cupid, and I started to jump on the floor. And before a minute had passed, he rushed up my stairs with a gray pillow and started beating me over the head with it. The soft smacks, my playful kicking, felt like I was finally a kid again. Okay, kiddo, stop hitting your old man. Want coffee? He took one final swing and nodded his head. What a little asshole. How do you want it? Sweet and dark, or sweet and creamy, or just black? Cupid had his arms crossed, trying to think. I'll actually try sweet and dark. I can always add milk later on. I turned the faucet on, filled the teapot, and I nodded and walked over towards the stove to put the flame on high. After a few minutes, the steam was coming out. Wheesh! I took the teapot off the stove and put it into another burner. Come here, kiddo. I'm going to show you the science of making the perfect cup of coffee. Cupid threw the pillow onto the rocking chair and ran over. Took 2 filters from the cabinets and got the coffee, which needed to be ground. There was an old-fashioned 1900s coffee grinder with a metal crank and a glass catcher behind it on the wall next to the stove. See here, take the beans and put them into a grinder like this. Seems easy enough, but be mindful, the coffee beans don't break up easily, so you're going to have to use a lot of consistent movements to grind it up. Cupid intently watched and then did it for a few minutes. Hey, Dad, I've got it. Ha ha! I smiled and patted him on the back. Yeah, you do, kiddo. Okay, now take the glass vial off the bottom and pour the amount you want into each filter. Fill mine halfway. He did as he was asked, and poured just enough into my filter, and he poured the same amount into his filter. Now take the top of the filter and see how it has a string? Use that string to tie it so the grounds don't get into your coffee. He watched again and followed my lead. Then you pour the water and give the sugar after a few minutes to let it steep. Thankfully, I got the teapot, which had cooled down, and poured water into both cups. Both mugs were blue porcelain and had little clouds painted onto them. 10 minutes later, Cupid had already drunk his first cup and wanted another one. Give it time, kiddo. You'll be up all night otherwise. He chuckled as I made a fire in the fireplace as the moon was out and the air had a slight chill to it. I struck the match and lit both ends of the fire. In a few seconds it roared to life. The heat radiating off it was such a nice feeling. I sat in the recliner and stuck out my hands to be warmed up. What you thinking about, Dad? I felt the stubble on my face. Only one thought crossed my mind. I need to shave, but I'm going to take the longest shower ever. I hadn't realized it's been a few days. Cupid laughed. Yeah, me too. I no longer get to clean myself with licks. What a shame. I chuckled. What do you want to do now, Dad? I looked over at the bong and Cupid got this mischievous grin. I want to teach my son about bongs, as this is truly a high, and it's the first way I ever smoked. He walked over to the table and packed the bowl with a healthy dose of weed, and I threw him the box of the matches, and he lit up as he walked over. The smoke filled the water. Bong. Now take the bowl out and inhale. That's where the real high starts. He did, and passed the bong and bowl to me. As I hit the bong, Cupid started to violently cough. All I could do was inhale and exhale, no coughing. He looked over me with the reddest eyes. Fucker, you should have said to take it slowly. I just forgot. But there was a shit-eating grin on my face. And then my phone buzzed. I'd totally forgotten about my phone. And I had the charger port and cord with me in my other pocket. It buzzed with a connection to the satellite network. Want some tunes? He nodded as he sat down on the floor in front of the fire. I put on Mozart's Fourth Symphony and turned the volume up to full blast. We just sat there for the rest of the night smoking and listening to classical music.